The Federal Reserve is the head of the snake in this deceitful, tyrannical system that we have set up. Thank you for joining me on the Money GPS yet again. I'm talking today about a mirage. And what I'm talking about is the Federal Reserve supposedly gonna stop, or I should say, trim down the $85 billion a month that they are injecting into the economy in fake credit. So they are going to supposedly trim down on this amount. Now, let's just say for a moment that they actually do, which I really don't think they will. Why are they doing this? Well, according to this article here, it's saying that growth in jobs, retail sales, services, and overall output in the world's biggest economy, combined with last week's breakthrough budget deal. Apparently, that was a breakthrough budget deal, which basically did absolutely nothing to change the status quo. Just in case you haven't been following here, they never do anything that is actually of any significance except for taking away our liberties. That's the only thing they ever do in Washington. Let's continue on quickly. And they are convinced, some of these economists are convinced that they're going to announce a reduction. So I like to think of this as nothing more than a mirage. What they're suggesting to us is that they're going to reduce this. Let's say they reduce it. What would they do? Will they bring it down to, let's say, $40 billion? And they're going to say that, even if the market maintains itself and, for the time being, it stays where it is, you're still printing $40 billion every single month that we know of. Even if they bring it down halfway, that's still $40 billion a month. And they've been doing this for so long. The economy is long gone. And I actually saw another article here that they referred to it as a crutch. And that is exactly, if you're been around on the Money GPS for a while, I've called it many, many times, and of course on the interviews I've done, a crutch. That is exactly what this is. You can't remove it. They cannot remove this crutch. It will collapse the whole system. And one of the things I wanted to point out is that so they can bring down the 85 billion. They can actually do that. They can say, okay, it's now $0 billion a month. But realistically, we don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. Look at it out of the Huffington Post. They refer to it as a $29 trillion bailout of Wall Street. Now, the bailout, the audit of the Fed found 16 trillion in their whole audit there, and that was a limited audit. The Huffington Post calculated a 29 trillion. Regardless, when you get to these sort of numbers, it doesn't even matter anymore. All I'm trying to say is that the numbers that they're providing us are completely fraudulent. I've said this 1,000 times, and all I have to say is, even if they do trim it, I'm sure they're just adding it somewhere else behind the scenes. Now, before I forget, I wanted to mention that I did a video recently about DynCorp and the UN and their sex slavery operation that they're running. And what was very interesting is that they didn't get me on the monetization saying that, I've used copyright material. They actually removed my monetization from that video. No warning, no nothing. They actually just removed the monetization entirely. I thought that was very interesting because I didn't use any sort of image. Every image I use now is something that I have personally taken a picture of. And I don't want to use anything, even if it's public domain, because even public domain images, they were saying I was using copyright. Regardless, they just took the monetization off, and I find that very interesting. On that video in particular, all these other videos never had a problem, but when I was talking about sex slavery done by the UN and DynCorp, one of the most disturbing videos I had to do in this recent past, and they're taking the monetization off. They're basically, trying to make it difficult on me. And what I find is that that's very interesting. If I'm talking about the Federal Reserve, I'm talking about, something a little bit more mainstream, let's say. They're not challenging it. But when I'm talking about something very deep, when I'm getting to the deep layers of this onion, they took it off. Now I wonder if that's going to tally up what they said, and they said, if you do this too many times, you're going to ban me. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that to light as well. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.